I know exactly how you feel. Your mind never switches off. You replay conversations, you imagine the worst case scenario, and your mind is tired from just thinking. If this is you, this video is just for you. Why? Because that used to be me not very long ago. I was an expert at overthinking, but after a long time of trying to figure out how to stop overthinking, of doing inner work, I achieved a calm mind. And you guys, it feels amazing. So let's get into it. Hi guys, my name is Lorena and welcome to the very first episode of this series, A Weekly Dose of Healing. In this series, we're going to talk about everything regarding healing, the messiness of the process, how to heal, best tips to do so, all the lessons that I've been learning throughout the years, I'm going to be sharing with you here on this series because there were a lot of tears in the process and I wouldn't want you to go through the same thing. So I'll be trying to save some suffering for any of you. So stick to the video and stay tuned for the last tip that I'm going to give you because this is a technique that my therapist gave me and it completely changed my life. In this very first episode, we're going to talk about overthinking because, as I said, I was an expert to it, you guys. Like, I would overthink every single thing. I used to imagine the worst case scenario for everything in my life, and that was causing me a lot of anxiety and a lot of fatigue mentally because I was just thinking all the time negatively about stuff in my life. And I'm not gonna lie, this was a very messy process, but I had to go through a lot of trial and error phases. And after a long time of training, I achieved a calm mind. And let me tell you, it's not that difficult. So what are the results from all this process that I went through? Now my mind is so much calmer. I am able to think first positively and then think about the worst case scenario. So I'm so happy about that because it used to be the other way around. So right now I am able not to go through the same thought over and over and over again until I feel so drained emotionally. And I'm able to look through life with other lenses, which is just amazing. And I don't think it's necessary to say that my anxiety has decreased so much. There are a lot of different techniques that I see online from people on how to stop overthinking, and a lot of them might work, but I'm going to share you my favorite ones. And before anything, just a little disclaimer, I am not a therapist, but I'm just sharing my honest and personal opinions and lessons that I have been learning throughout the years and that have completely changed my mindset. I think the first thing that changed my mindset was identifying the bad and negative thoughts and identifying the patterns when I was starting to overthink. So this is very important because I think a lot of us know when we are overthinking, right? Like you just catch yourself thinking about the same thing negatively over and over and over again. So when I was in those moments, I would stop myself and I would be like, okay, what am I actually thinking? And does it actually make sense? Or is it just my mind going through the same negative loop again? Once I detected and identified those bad overthinking thoughts, I would say, okay, these are not normal, these are not logical or rational, these are very irrational and panicking thoughts. So let's change them. So the second step is literally realizing you are not those thoughts. And it's just literally thoughts. Like it's not your reality. It's your mind trying to protect you because you think that if you control the situation by overthinking it, you will be okay. But that is just a trick that your mind is trying to play. And the third thing that I did was trying to find the good in the situation or trying to rationalize what I was thinking. So when you're overthinking, you tend to think negatively, right? So I would stop and say, okay, I know this is the bad thought I'm thinking over and over again. I know that it's irrational. So let's just try to put some rationality here, like some logic in here. And I would try to find a lot of rational arguments to kind of win this bad irrational thought. So I'm gonna give you an example. When I was at university, I wanted to be a fitness influencer so bad. Like I was obsessed about that. And I went through a very dark period in my life in which I was hyper stressed, and so that ended up causing a lot of digestive issues, bloating, back pain, hormonal imbalances. So I couldn't train properly. I couldn't gain muscle because I couldn't eat anything. And so I was depressed and anxious about this because this was the way that I was thinking. I thought if I have severe digestive issues, back pain, etc., I cannot be a fitness influencer, therefore my life's over. It's like very panicking mode, very overthinking mode. Right now, looking at from a logical perspective, I can change that thought process and I can say, okay, I have severe digestive issues, I have back pain, my life is not over. It isn't. I can fix those problems and get to be a fitness influencer, or I can stop obsessing about being a fitness influencer and try to find other things in life. My life isn't over because I'm very young and there are a lot of things that I can try that I'm sure I would like, and I can never know what my career is going to look like at 20 years old. Like, that's not very common. So let's try to think positively here. And so that's what I mean by trying to put some logic and some positiveness into those overthinking bad negative thoughts. This is a very long process that I started doing with every single bad thought that I have. So eventually what I did, I bought a notebook specifically for overthinking, like literally, and I would write down at the end of the day each negative and panicking thought that I had. And so I would go through this process. I would identify it. I would identify it if it was irrational, and then I would try to look for a rational and logical argument to win the bad thought. It's very hard at the beginning, and like at the beginning I didn't convince myself at all with those like logical and positive arguments, but the more that I did this, the more I convinced myself, and like anxiety decreased so much and overthinking literally stopped. But something very important that I think I need to clarify here is that you need to understand that overthinking is completely useless. Like, it's literally so stupid that when you understand it's so stupid, you don't do it again. And let me elaborate on this. So basically, you are overthinking about something. You know, you're thinking, this thing is going to happen. It's so bad. It's so horrible. So you are suffering now, anticipating a bad thing that will happen in the future. But that doesn't make a lot of sense, because what if that thing never happens? What if you're just suffering now for something that won't even happen in the future? And in the worst case scenario, if it happens, let me tell you, it won't be as bad. And if it happens, you would have suffered twice. So what is the point? Like, literally, it's so stupid. I know it sounds like so beautiful and easy said, but I found it so powerful to know that it was just up to me whether I wanted to worry about something twice or not. And so I started practicing what I told you before, right? Rationalizing and trying to be positive about this. And I think this happened to me because I've always been a perfectionist, and if you're watching this video, you are probably a perfectionist too, because perfectionist girls, we try to control everything. That's the way we do things, right? We try to have everything under our control. We try to overthink so our life will be good. We try to have certainty about the future, about things that can and might happen. But let me tell you, this will only bring you anxiety and it will drain your energy. Because guess what? We don't have to know and be sure about everything that will happen. Actually, being okay with uncertainty in your life will free you from a lot of stress and anxiety. Letting go of control is the first step to emotional freedom. When you accept that life is uncertain and that bad things might happen, and you kind of accept the bad things are going to happen in the future, or if they're happening now, you accept them, you will just let go a little bit of that resistance that you have in you to bad things and to uncertainty. And that will make you a lot more free mentally and emotionally, and therefore overthinking will decrease significantly in your life. And I'm telling you this because it happened to me. I used to control everything. I just want to be certain about my future career, about my future relationships, about where I was going to live. And when I one day I said, okay, I'm done. I accept uncertainty. I leave it to God. I surrender, and whatever will be, will be. And you know what? There is something that you can actually do to stop overthinking, which is breaking your addiction to social media. And I'm saying this because I was so addicted to social media. I'm still kind of am, but I'm breaking that. And when I was constantly on social media, I was looking at the life of people that were rich, that had a penthouse at the age of 20, that were millionaires at the age of 25, that just had a perfect face, a perfect body. And this was sending messages to my mind constantly about, oh, I need to be better, I need to be rich, I need to look this way, I need to do this certain things. And so little by little, I started to put a lot of expectations on myself and requirements that were draining me, and I didn't even know it. So yeah, I think social media is a huge part of overthinking because first, we're constantly putting noise in our heads, and second, we're looking at lives that are not real and not common. Being rich in your 20s, having the perfect face, the perfect body is not the reality, guys. Like, the sooner that you understand this, the more free you will be from overthinking. And last, I want to share a technique that I keep doing every single day when I find myself like overthinking or having like an obsessive negative thought. And it's saying to that thought, hey, thanks for coming, but I just literally don't want to talk to you. This is something that my therapist told me, and it's just gold, you guys, because when you have a negative thought and you are giving it attention and energy and importance, and you're literally trying to answer it and imagining different scenarios in your mind, and blah, 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 you're overthinking too much. That's just going to bring you anxiety and chaos and just so bad. So what I started doing that now it's so much easier after a lot of practice is literally when I feel like I have a thought coming into my mind that I don't like and it's negative, I try to see it as if I'm watching TV, you know, like from the distance. I see that thought from the distance. I notice that it's negative and that I don't like it. And I said, okay, you can be here, but I'm just literally not gonna enter in a conversation with you. I'm not gonna talk to you. And then I go and do other stuff. At first, guys, I'm telling you, this was so hard. And the thoughts just kept coming and coming. They wouldn't leave. But then I just started to accept them, let them be, and I continued with my life. And little by little, all of these thoughts, like negative overthinking thoughts, started to decrease. And this is because when you don't give too much attention to something, whether it is a thought or an emotion, your mind understands that it's not a threat and therefore it's not necessary, and it just kind of like deactivates that thought. And the key here is doing it so many times that it ends up becoming automatic. And girl, something that you need to understand about overthinking is that it's okay having it. We're human beings. We are actually wired to look at the negative things. So be patient with yourself, accept the messiness, and know that you can change your mindset little by little. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. And thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.